So we'll get started so we can keep pace. There is a Q&A room located right behind here in our student lounge that you can go to at the end of this, because I'll take a few questions, but then I got to cut it short to say, okay, let me get the next folks in here. But we do have Q&A with our director of admissions and our campus registrar waiting to answer any question that you may have that I may not be able to answer while you're here. So in about 2 minutes, I'll close that door, just so we can get going. So welcome to the open house, CSC's open house. So in complete transparency, to give you an idea of how fast this stuff is moving, we've been in existence since 2017. We started our campus 2017 in the Independence Tower, which is about a 30-second jog if you jog fast from here. And on Tuesday of last week, we were having our originally scheduled open house for today, and we had 67 people who RSVP'd, which is cool. We usually get about 100 at an open house. So Tuesday, people went out to the polls to vote, and then Wednesday we got in and looked at how many people had registered. We had 706 people. So in less than 24 hours, we went from 61, 62 to 700, right? So I tell you that because it's important to understand that people are interested in knowing about cannabis, right? So for all of you who've been in the game for quite a while, there are folks who are saying, how can I learn more? And to that, I want to welcome you to the Cleveland School of Cannabis, school that we started in 2016 to really prepare people to work in the industry. Our founder, Austin Briggs, who's a bald guy running around here, came back from California and he said, something's missing in our market. He said, something's missing in our market. I had a grow farm out in California and people keep killing my plants. They show up to their interviews and say, I'm a master grower, so I hire them. 9 weeks later, I have no plants. So I need to figure out how to educate people on what it is and what it takes to actually have a sustainable industry, because it's not happening in California. So he came back to Ohio, where he's from, and he started the Cleveland School of Cannabis. I met him on a plane flying to Dominican Republic, and we had a conversation about how I can help market his business. And then after that, he was like, how about you be our president? So I'm in this position now, serving. I've been in education for 17 plus years, higher education, helping to create schools and run schools. And this is my baby, to say the least. So the Cleveland School of Cannabis, we've created a family of different organizations that have stemmed from the brilliance of Austin Briggs, who is our founder. You are in the Cleveland School of Cannabis, the first and only school solely dedicated to cannabis education in Ohio, and only the second school in the nation to be approved by a state to operate as a school serving cannabis, right? Number two, the first is Cloverleaf out in Colorado. Part of the Cleveland School of Cannabis is our Cannabis Hub, which is self-paced learning. We created that as a result of seeing what people wanted from the market. They said, I can't always come to school in a live teaching format, but I still want to learn. So we created the Cannabis Hub, which we boiled down our education and made it bite-sized so people can access it 24 hours a day. We created My First Plant while we were sitting in Chuck Norris's house in Oklahoma. We were having a conversation about what we can bring to the industry that doesn't exist. And if anybody has been to Oklahoma, it is the wild, wild west when it comes to cannabis. So we said to ourselves, what will we offer a market like this? And we said we can offer them the ability to grow their own plant. And we started a program called My First Plant, which is a 16-week program that gives people the opportunity to grow their plant from their home. We send them a grow tent, we send them seeds, we send them a nice welcome kit, a nice box, and then once a week for 2 hours, they meet with an instructor online who talks to them about what they're doing to grow their plant. There is actually a kit out front if you want to check it out and just see what we send you. We don't have the tent there, but if you go into the grow room and you see those tents, those are tents that you'll receive in your house. All right, that's My First Plant. And then we created NAMC. NAMC is a nonprofit. It stands for National Association for Marijuana and Cannabis Educators, because we said if we're going to do education, let's do it right. So NAMC is a nonprofit that brings all cannabis educators together to say, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? How do we improve? So this is the family of CSC and what we think is extremely important to a sustainable industry that we started right here in Ohio. So why CSC exists? We exist to develop future leaders in the cannabis industry. We want to be the most educated state in the country, and we think we can do it with the right folks. Meaning we want people to be equipped with the best education as they enter into the market, right? That's why we exist. We exist to create the most educated state, as I said, but we will also want to help people grow their network. in our facility. One thing that people always tell you is that it's not your net worth, it's your network, right? And one thing that people have been able to do while sitting in the class with folks is start to create a network of cannabis enthusiasts and people who say, this is a market that I want to be a part of, right? So we exist to create that community. It's beyond just learning about the plant. It's actually sitting in a class with people who care about it as much as you, or who are looking at the industry as an opportunity to do something different. The closest thing to this in our lifetime that exists was the dot-com boom. And how many people in here own a dot-com piece of the dot-com land that made you a billionaire? Probably none of us, right? Right? My man in the back said, I do, right? But there's an opportunity here that people are missing as they watch it go by while other people are getting on the ship. And then in 10, 15 years, when it's in another place, folks are like, damn, I was there when it started. And I'm still here now that it's still taking off without me. So we exist to help people grow that. We also exist, I'll add a couple more, for patients who are looking to learn about cannabis as a medicine. We exist for the medical professional who's looking to learn a little bit more about cannabis as their patients are coming to them thinking, I don't want any more of those pills, I want something else. What do you know about cannabis? Right? We exist for those folks to continue their education as well. The ECS, the endocannabinoid system, is something that they're not even teaching in medical schools yet, but it exists in your body. And we teach it here, right? So that you know how cannabis is operating within you. The last two I already talked about, but if you're interested in learning how to grow or extract or improving your business, this is the place for you. I always skip that, I don't know why. Because the next one says, why do we exist in Ohio? The first thing is that House Bill 523 made it possible for us to open up. How many people know that you can actually buy cannabis right now in the state of Ohio? It is a legal market, right, for medical patients. And it has been since 2016, right? That made us exist. When we saw that, Austin said, I can now operate in my hometown to help people become employed in that industry. We exist because there are dispensaries, there are processing facilities, there are cultivation facilities that are looking for people who know what they're talking about to work for them. We exist to help them have access to those folks who know what they're talking about, right? And then most recently, we exist because of Issue 2, which said adults should be able to use cannabis at will. Right? So we exist to make sure we're educating, whether it's doctors, whether it's patients, whether it's caregivers, or people who are just looking to get involved. We exist on behalf of those folks. So here we are in our position to educate people about cannabis. But on the job front, people talk about us as well. And I always want to show folks one of the videos that we shot probably about 4 years ago. It was very basic. We just asked them to tell us about the people who come from the Cleveland School of Cannabis who are employed by Rise Dispensary.
The relationship with CSC has been great. We haven't had to add on the extra 2 to 4 weeks from a training perspective. They're already ahead of the game and they're teaching us things that we don't even know. It's been super impactful for us. But it's also a comfort feeling. You know, when you open up day one and here in the Cleveland area in Rain, we've got 8 graduates from the CSC in our stores, and it's a comfortable feeling to know what we have.
So he said 8, and it means absolutely nothing to you unless you know how many employees he had. He had 14 employees, and 8 of them were CSC grads, right? He lives by the graduates that show up to his doorstep. But why CSC, right? You can say, I can go online right now, Ty, and I can just go to YouTube and learn about cannabis. Why do I have to come to this school, right? Why? Why do I have to do it? Education is easy to come by now. First of all, I don't think people are that disciplined to just go to YouTube every day and learn themselves, right? We need someone else in the classroom with us. Well, I'll speak for myself, to help me get up and show up every day. And I want to be able to ask questions, and I just don't want this flat site telling me things. And I'm like, I have a question. And they're like, so what? I'm continuing on, right? But we exist, or you would choose CSC because we have a processing lab. Many of you probably had a chance to see our faculty members show you how they're processing cannabis in this place, right? We have a grow room. We are one of the few facilities in Ohio, right, that allow you to touch the plant. So if you haven't had an opportunity to see our grow room and what our students have put together, you should go by and check our cultivation room and see the plants that they've grown through class, right? We have a grow room. We have VR learning. So we may not be able to get everyone into a grow facility outside of what we have, but we do have VR access, right? So you can put on the VR goggles and you can get in the middle of a grow room thanks to our team. Right? This is a 360 recording happening right now that allows you to be in the place and looking around as if you're there. And if you're not careful, you'll get dizzy and or you'll forget that you're actually not in that space. It's happened before. And then finally, we have a relationship with Dutchie. Dutchie is a POS system that operates in a lot of dispensaries, and we signed an agreement with them so that people have an opportunity to work with the Dutchie dispensary system, right? So we have a small mock dispensary here. We have over 1,000 graduates from 28 states, and when CSC graduates see other CSC graduates, it's like, hey, you went to CSC? Me too. You're not going to go into any dispensary or any cultivation facility in the state and not see a CSC grad. I promise you. We've obtained our cultivations license, right? So we can grow. We are in agreement with the state of Ohio that said you can grow in your facility. So we're not growing anything illegal. We have to report to the state every year what we're doing and how much we've grown. All right. So we have to. It's part of our restrictions. We're also a candidate for Middle States Association. We have been approved conditionally, and we're waiting for the final vote on December 7th. And what accreditation says is that you are recognized by the United States Department of Education, and there is not one cannabis school in the country recognized by the United States Department of Education. Not one. On December 7, 2023, we will become the first school in the country recognized by the United States Department of Ed, and you will know when we say csceducation.edu to signify our relationship with the United States government. We will be the first. So you are sitting in the presence of what we consider to be something great happening. We're also approved and recognized by the Ohio Board of Career Colleges and Schools, right? So the folks who monitor schools in Ohio have given us the go-ahead for the past 6 years and hopefully the 7th, saying you are doing what you're supposed to do as a school. I give you credentials because I think it's extremely important for you to understand the depth of knowledge that you're receiving and the quality of structure that you're a part of when you go to CSC, all right? Finally, over 75 well-decorated faculty members with 300 years of combined experience in cannabis help create our curriculum. And we have teams of people who every 6 weeks look at our curriculum to see what needs to change. So our curriculum is always evolving. It doesn't get old and stale, right? It's the way it's supposed to happen. And that's really a part of, right? A part of being accredited is that we have to have these organizations and these folks who are coming together looking at our organization to help us evolve, right? So it isn't something that we just did out of our own, the goodness of our hearts. I wish we could say that, but they require it. And we did pursue this because we thought it was important. The way we educate people, and this is where you all are like, this is what I came here for. We have 400 hours of accessible education given to you in several different ways, right? 400 hours, what you see up here is 16 courses. Each course is 25 hours long. 16 times 25 is 400. I add the plus because we have Cannabis Hub and My First Plant, which doesn't show up on this board. So these are the courses that you have access to at CSC. The way those courses are distributed and taught is our live courses. We teach them live virtual or live on campus. Live on campus is extremely limited. You see the classroom, right? And this is without the desk. So our sizes in our class on campus are extremely limited, but we also offer classes virtually. So live virtual, all classes are 25 hours and last for 6 weeks. You're either taking them on a Monday, Wednesday schedule or a Tuesday, Thursday schedule for 2 hours each, right? So it puts you in class for 4 hours a week, 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Wednesday, or 2 hours on Thursday, and 2 hours on Tuesday, right? That lasts for 6 weeks. You can take up to 4 courses. Many people stick to 2 or 3 in that 6-week span before they get into 3 more courses. The structure, our live virtual courses are real-time on CSC Zoom platform. We moved to Zoom in 2019 before it became popular, so we've gotten really good at it, right? When you are in live virtual, you can show up real-time on your Zoom camera and talk to the faculty as they give you the curriculum, or if you can't make it, you have 48 hours to view what the faculty did in that course with other students. Live on campus, you have to be there. If class is from 2 to 4 on Tuesday and Thursday, you have to be here from 2 to 4 on Thursday, right? Live virtual hands-on experience comes in the form of weekend enrichment days. So when you're signing up for a live virtual course, our faculty run enrichment days on weekends, and they'll let you know, hey, we're having an enrichment day today. Sign up and come on in and be a part of it. So you can come in, dig in the dirt, extract some plant, play with the Dutchie system, and work through that process, right? Live on campus, your hands-on experience is baked into your coursework. So depending on the classes you take, it's baked into what you're doing, right? So our cannabis cultivation folks are actually growing cannabis and then shucking cannabis, drying cannabis, curing cannabis, and in some cases packaging the cannabis that they've grown, right? It's part of their process. The exams in both cases are taken online through our Populi platform, right? So when you become a student with CSC, you are given access to Populi, and that's where your exams are taken, right? And your relationship and your engagement with some of your classmates may be there as well. The cost, whether it's live virtual or live on campus, is $9.99 per course, right? So $9.99 per course. There is payment plans for those and a discount when you decide to pay for your course up front. For the self-paced learning, our relationship with Cannabis Hub, this is Dr. Chef Linda Berry, who's world known and from Ohio, has done work with Dave Chappelle and a host of other people in cooking for them. The course length here is from 3 to 8 hours, right, depending on the course you take. You have 24-hour access to these courses, meaning you can take them whenever. You have access to your course for up to a year from the day that you start. The hands-on experience is typically done in the VR, so you'll have links that gives you this 360 access to our partners' places where you can go and look around and check it out, and so on and so forth. The exams are taken in our platform, and the costs range from $50 to $350, but there are bundles where you can layer those from $650 to $1,100, right? Everyone here should have 30% off for coming here tonight, utilizing the code issue2. That gives you an opportunity to take a course right now with the 30% off, right? So you can get on Cannabis Hub, which is cannahub.edu.com today and register for any course that you like. Regardless of how you take courses with us, once your name is in our system, we make sure you have access to our Green Hour. A Green Hour is something that happens every other week, and it's virtual, where we ask people who are in the industry, a lot of times big names in the industry, who come on and have conversations with our students. So every other Friday from 12 to 1, you will be invited out to join from wherever you are to hear from these folks who operate in the industry, right? You have folks like Dan here, his son, or Dan himself shows up and actually does our Green Hours. We have folks like Al Harrington, who is a business partner of ours. Al Harrington owns a company called Viola. He's a former NBA player and has the largest African-American owned international cannabis company in the country. He's one of our partners, and he has done Green Hours. Mr. D'Angelo has done Green Hours if you're into cannabis like that. So folks like that come out and talk directly to our students about their experiences, and it's a two-way conversation. But no matter what you decide to do, you have access to the Green Hour. So in order to get started, as I said, the seats are limited. I want to be clear about our on-campus space. We have a couple more seats available on campus, but when you register virtual live, we have more seats available. But we tell you, go to csceducation.com, right? Find what you want and find the path that you want to take and move forward. There are papers located outside of this classroom that gives you a breakdown of courses that we would suggest if you were trying to start a career in cannabis in particular fields. So horticulture, we'll say these are 6 classes you should take. For dispensaries, we'll say these are 6 classes you may want to take, right? For processing, we'll say these are 6 classes you need to take. Those sheets are outside. You can grab them and see what combination of courses you need to take. But I'm encouraging people to get involved as soon as possible. Our links are live now for folks to register for courses, and we're going from there. Any questions? Go ahead.
Do you have any courses on strains or anything like that?
Part of our conversation in cannabis cultivation is that,
Okay.
but then also we talk a lot about terps, and we have that on Cannabis Hub, right? We do have a course that we haven't released yet that is all about strains,
Okay.
right? So when it's released, we'll put it out there for sure.
Do you have evening classes?
The latest our class goes is until about 6 right now, but we're starting to pick up evening classes a little bit more now. Yeah, more evening stuff. But the latest goes until about 6. Okay.
For the self-paced learning, would you be able to get through that at an accelerated pace in comparison to like in person?
Yeah, it's extremely accelerated depending on your pace, right? Like if you say I can knock this out in a week, you can, because they're only 3 to 8 hours long if you're sitting watching the videos and taking the exam. So it is accelerated. But compared to the in-depth of a 25-hour course, it isn't as in-depth as that,
Okay.
right?
Okay, so I'm an esthetician and I work at a spa, and we're actually thinking about introducing a CBD facial. So do you guys talk about how CBD how that all ties in with skincare or no?
There is a course called Learn All You Can About CBD with Dr. Bridget Williams that talks a lot about the way you can implement CBD into what you're doing.
Okay.
So you can take that, but then you also have access to Dr. Bridget Williams, right?
Okay.
So we can set you up with a conversation with her to actually have some dialogue with her about how it can help your business, right? She'll be more than happy to do that, for sure. No, saw another hand? Well, again, there's a Q&A lounge right here. So if you're like, I have a question, but I don't want to ask it here. Our director of admissions and our registrar are next door taking questions, and they'll be there for the duration. But hopefully you get a chance to visit the grow room, visit the Cooking with Cannabis class, so on and so forth. I forgot to mention, after every single course that you complete here, you do get a certificate of completion. So there is some representation saying you have been a student at CSC and you have taken classes here, right? So you don't just walk out without any representation of what you've done. All right. All right. Good luck. Thanks for coming out.